fingers are crossed, you won't really be successful.
We need water with them on. Wait, let's go.
Y'all go back outside?
Okay.
Why?
So wait, that's where we're gonna leave from.
So, going now. Hey, what you got?
Water.
That's probably escaping. Yeah. So we.
I wonder if you could have kind of just up the escape room. That's weird.
Thought it was a mirror for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Johnny G.
We sell them.
Please don't caution it says Amber. You obviously didn't read the label. There's no cure for stupid. The vomiting might stop about
Oh my gosh, did he put that on there? Does it say that on the bottle? The guy who designed our shop, you know, I haven't read the bottles real closely because my eyesight's not that great. So, yeah. But that does sound exactly like him. So, oh, wait, I know what the problem is here. Open it, wrong password. There. Perfect.
Which are your t-shirts on?
With text, they're $20, except for the ones with rhinestones, and they're like $29.95.
We can get something when we come back.
Well, it's better to go ahead and get it now. Not all my guides come in after. If you make sure to ask your guide, you know they will. But a lot of times people forget after or whatever. So. And I wrote the book, so we sell autograph copies. So if you want a personalized autograph, I will not be here after.
So you're Miss Amy.
I am. My book actually just came out on audio tape. That one's the only one that's gotten national attention. It's been on some national podcasts and stuff. You see it is the most bizarre true crime you'll ever hear. You see the painting on the shelf over there?
Mm-hmm.
That's a self-portrait done by one of the victims 2 years before he died. You can see his gagged with 5 bullet holes in his head. That's how his body was found. And the murderers never saw or heard anything about the painting. It's just one of dozens of really bizarre things about the case. Did I already ask you your name and get you checked in?
Ma'am.
Okay. Were you Angela?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then that one has ghost tours all over ghost stories all over the area, not just the downtown ones. And the ones that are on our tour, I had my co-author write so people would get a different perspective.
So how did you do all your research on that?
The library downtown has, they call it the folklore file, which is about this thick. And I spent several weeks in the library reading through it because I love that kind of stuff. You know? Well, that's how I did the research for the ghost book now and the tour. That one, I practiced law for 20 years. This is my retirement job. It's much more fun. So I first heard about the story when I was practicing law, and then when I started the ghost tour, I started hearing about it from an entirely different perspective. So it was a lot of fun to write. And you know, I wrote to and got a letter back from one of the murderers and talked to. I knew all the police officers because you know I've worked for the prosecution before, so I talked to about 40 different people.
So what made you go from attorney to this?
Oh, well, the attorney was just too stressful. If I'd done it for another year, I probably would have killed myself. And my kids and I always love ghost tours because it's a really great way to find out about a city. And we said, how come Chattanooga doesn't have one? So I decided, well, you know, if there were enough stories around here to make it worth people's while, then I would start one. And it turned out there's an abundance. So.
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's tons.
just with the Civil War and everything going on.
Yeah, there's a lot. Did you want to get that?
Yes, ma'am. You're going to autograph it for me?
Yes, I sure am. Who should I make it out to?
Actually, make it out to Weston.
Weston.
I-N.
That's why I always ask.
The ghost tour in the description.
Medusa.
Yes. I need to know what Medusa.
Because everybody knows who it is.
But you don't know geography.
Today is the 12th. Hey, Jason, how are you?
I know. That's Addison.
Yeah, and I actually sell it for less than the cover price. So me too. I love Halloween, so like I said, I put on
Oh, you have to love it. You absolutely have to love it.
Brain. You want the brain?
Yeah, I had somebody in here one time who used to work with brains, and he said it actually sort of felt like it wasn't just squishy, but it was kind of sticky. So it's $21.84.
No, this is actually my first time.
I'm gonna use it as a stretchable at school.
Sorry, and I'll get your bag too.
Where's Eddie?
Okay.
Over there.
Oh, okay.
Where?
Back over here in the chair.
Yeah, let me get you. Check that out.
Oh,
Oh, you can keep that. Just add that to the collection.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's something fun.
Did it fit?
It does.
Cool. Awesome, awesome. All right, well, yeah, I'm sure I already told you guys to look around, push buttons, because they do fun stuff. If you turn the knob on that TV over there, that's probably the creepiest thing we have. You have to watch it about a minute to see the really cool thing it does. And yes. If you need a bathroom, the escape room has 2 at the end of the hall on the left, and we'll get started in a few minutes. Are y'all all together? Yeah. What day is y'all's reservation under? Oh, okay. Had a different name.
Yeah.
Started to check it in under your line. It turned out it wasn't. So where are you here from?
whoa.
That's somebody at Violet J. Oh, that's somebody that's at Speed.
Yeah, have a nice day, man.
Violet.
Once you start here, so free up.
No. I got this.
We're here.
We're at the goose. We're at the goose. In there. Ready to fight? Yeah.
Thanks, Eddie Kate.
Yeah. Patty cake, and the whip. What? No.
So, the tour's gonna begin in like 8 minutes. So, you guys got your ghosts on cam, let me know. I'm opening up for some questions if you, while we're waiting.
When we're getting in the
Here in about 20 minutes.
Okay, so you're gonna so you're gonna start.
Yeah, they were very nice.
It's going to be extremely difficult
That's
to
what.
walk like this.
I literally saw it and I was like, that's different.
Made it sound like
You have to hold him like that. What the heck, Lily? It's for me? No. You're what in the deep feather.
Here, do it on your shoulder.
You're what in the deep box.
Chad, do you have any questions? Feel free. I know. I know.
They're in there. He's trying to talk her into goggles. She's not buying it.
I need to get your picture in front of the ghost tour thing.
Gotta stand over there and take it. Unless you're too embarrassed.
No, that's okay. Let's do a group photo with, and we'll get someone to take a photo.
I'll take it for you.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Her little grandson is really into this. He has his own EMF machine.
Oh, wow. How old is he? 12. And every time he comes and spends the night with Nana, that's what we watch. It's all paranormal stuff.
Oh, wow.
Is this your first time doing a ghost tour? Yeah, mine too.
We have done one. We're from Kentucky. Down by Nashville, there's like a roundhouse, and then we've done one. Just kind of walking through there.
Janae, wait there. She's gonna get a photo.
But he's into it.
So why did you say, I just said yes? Oh yeah, and then she said
Do you mind? Thank you. Thanks.
I'm not any questions if you guys want.
You ready?
Because I'm going to be here for about a few minutes.
That was so funny. It was like,
I know, I turned and I was like, oh shit.
yeah.
And then I pulled in and said, no, because the building's a little different.
when we saw you drive fast, we were like, he's having his moment right now.
Yeah, he's having a
I said,
it was all over your face. It was like,
You were like,
I do this.
don't look at me from the show, the Umbrella Academy.
So do you guys know where we're all going? Have you done this one before?
Are we walking? Are we?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they said it's 3 haunted locations and then it's where the 3 magnets are inside your cellar.
Oh, okay. I bought her book.
I'm not going to say
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I started talking to her. She's a attorney. She was, or I'm sure she's still licensed. She's an attorney. She quit being an attorney and started doing this.
Is she sensitive or psychic or?
Say that. She's a researcher. So I was asking about the book because she said she was.
no, when you said that, I was like,
Her.
I was about to say no,
Okay.
and then I was going to go
So this
into
is not psychic.
Like,
This
I
is
think
actual
it's
research.
similar.
She spoke to. She had access to all the files, of course, being an attorney.
Wow.
But the
That's
painting,
changed
there's a painting there on the shelf of someone with a chain and 5 bullet holes on his head, and that is one of the victims. And he painted himself a self-portrait. He lived before he got into it.
Wow, that's crazy.
So,
Well, gosh darn, my husband was one of the curators at a military museum in California, and doing displays, and it's right outside March Air Base, and it used to be farmland, and there's definitely something there. A wife
Something
and
like
her
that.
son are still waiting for her husband to come back. It's like half apparitions of them with what I say, those round balls were orbs everywhere, and they have different planes. It's an air museum, and one of the planes brought all the Vietnam guys home and the wounded, and yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Did you get like recordings on one of the planes?
Right. We had an EMF recorder going in. It was one of my first times, and they asked me where should we put this recorder, and I said, well, what do you think? And when they played it back, after I said, they asked me, a deep voice said, here. Yeah, I was like, okay. And then when I was sitting in the back of the plane in one of the jump seats, I felt icy cold, and the seat was vibrating. So, this is real. That was in, it is Asheville. This is real.
I was like,
How old was I?
especially like,
She was like,
I was a hospice nurse for the last 16 years of my nursing career, and I've seen things I can't explain, and I don't try. I just
Let me
accept.
have everybody go ahead and come gather around Agatha up here. I'm going to take a quick photo that we'll put up on Facebook so you can grab a free sheet.
Victor, come on up. I'm in front of here. Come on. You're up over here.
Alright. Can you move a little bit to the side so you can see Agatha? She doesn't like it when she's Alright, instead of cheese, everybody say Munster. You can all come on down here. I'm going to get started showing y'all some photos, and then I will turn you over to Jason. Is there anybody I haven't gotten checked in yet here? Hi everybody, I'm Amy. I own Chattanooga Ghost Tours. This is Jason. Jason is going to be your guide tonight. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now before my 9 o'clock folks get here, Jason is my best guide. You guys can have a blast. But before we get started, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about photos, because we do have a lot of people get a lot of ghost pictures on the tour. Who all has been on a ghost tour before? Awesome. How many of you watch Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Missions? Cool. Well, there's 3 main ways ghosts tend to manifest themselves on film. The most common is as an orb, which is a small round ball of light. Sometimes it's small and faint, sometimes it's big and bright. You watch any of those shows on TV, you've heard some of the people, not all of them, but some of them say most orbs aren't real. Even the folks who say that will tell you there's a few that are. Usually they'll say they're the really bright ones that are basically creating their own light. We've had people get examples of both kinds on the tour. The other ways they manifest is as a green or white smoky looking substance. They'll say it's ectoplasm, and the rarest is an actual form, face, or figure. We've had people get examples of all those. So before you get started, let me show you just a few photos. So when you get back and you're looking through your computer or your cell phone, you know what you're looking for. If you get any really cool photos, we'd love to have you send them to us. It's okay to put them on the website, let us know, or you can just upload them yourself to our Facebook page. Now, first I'm going to show you is a good example of an orb. And this is taken on the formerly glass bridge that runs between the Walnut Street Bridge and the Hunter Museum. All the photos you're going to see have all been taken by our guests on our tour. All the stories you're going to hear are all documented, mostly by newspaper accounts, a couple from books or television shows. Now this next one is a good example of ectoplasm. This is taken at the edge of the Walnut Street Bridge. I was actually present when this photo was taken. There's nobody smoking in the area. We do ask that you not smoke on the tour so nobody gets any photos they're really excited about, but it turns out it's just someone's cigarette. And this is on a fairly warm night, so it's not caused by condensation on your camera lens like you can get in the middle of winter. Now the next one is, I think, one of the better ghost photos I've seen, not just on our tour, but any place. Apparently there's some other folks that agree with us, because this one's actually been the subject of a news story. You can see the lady in blue with her wrist crossed in front of her. Yeah, this was taken on our tour 14 years ago by a fellow who'd been doing ghost investigations for a long time. Knew what to do and what not to do. Made sure before he sent it to us it wasn't a double exposure. Took it without a flash, so it's not a reflection, plus there's no reflective surface there. There were only 6 people on our tour the night this was taken. None of them looked anything at all like this lady, so we're really excited about that one. Now the next one is taken at one of our new locations. Since we moved down here in 2017 after half our old building collapsed. This is the old sanatorium or asylum. You guys are going to see and hear about it tonight. You won't see it till I show you. This particular location for about the past 7 years has been really active for ghost photos. So if you're trying to get those, good place to try. You can see there's nobody standing on this concrete pad right here. Our group is actually back here behind the rails. You can't see us, but you can see our shadows really well right here. Kind of see our reflections over here. But this couple right here that looks like they're standing right in front of the glass because they're so vivid, but you can see that they're not. And I'm going to try to bring, feel free to come closer if you want to, because I know there's a little bit of glare. The ones in old-fashioned clothes like nobody wears, can you see them? Yeah, like nobody wears anymore. The woman with the hat, the man with the cravat. Yeah, nobody and nothing there when that was taken. Now this particular location is condemned. Can you see? It is locked up tight, so there's no way anyone can say, hey, let's mess with the ghost tours. Let's get dressed up and stand inside the glass. That's not what's going on there. Next next one I'll show you is, I think, the best ghost photo I've ever seen, bar none. It came in on our ghost hunt about 4 years ago. The hunt is more like the investigations you see on TV, where you guys get to use the equipment. But the important thing for purposes of the photo is it's in a different location. It goes through UTC's campus and down to Citizens Cemetery. Now, the rumor for decades before we ever started the tour was that Danforth Chapel, inside Penton Chapel there on UTC's campus, was haunted by a suicide bride ghost who'd gotten stood up at the altar. And we've gotten photos of her before, but we've never. This is Anna. We know her name is Anna because she tells us that all the time on the obelisk, the piece of equipment that we have that talks.
Spirit box.
Huh?
Spirit box.
It's better than a spirit box. This was now Anna is one of my favorite ghosts. As you might expect from a ghost who got stood up at the altar, she will only talk to women. She has, on more than one occasion, when we've had a bachelorette party along on the hunt, tried to talk them out of getting married. And no, it sounds like I made that up, but I totally did not. She asks for coffee a lot of times from Two's Pressure. You can actually smell coffee. So Anna's a fan. Now this next one's taken at the Reed House Hotel, which has Chattanooga's most famous ghost. And you guys are going to hear about her tonight. But she is not the only ghost of the Reed House. This is a portrait of Sam Reed, of the Reed family, the Reed House, that hangs in a tiny little room off the lobby. You guys here for the 9 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, this is my 8:30, so you haven't missed anything.
8:30.
Huh? What name is it under? Okay, just come on up after and so I can get you checked in. Okay. Yeah, this is a portrait of Sam Reed of the Reed family, the Reed House, that hangs in a tiny little room off the lobby. There is a fellow who works there now who, if he is not too busy, will actually take you to see the haunted room. So if you get a chance, pop by there, check it out. One of my guides tells me Sam's ghost still hangs out there. But we do know there's some other entities that like to hang around with him, particularly around this portrait. Anybody see it yet?
Yeah, like in the photo. Like,
Yeah, not that.
like, oh,
Yeah.
like on his shoulder.
No, better than that. I'll show you. I'm going to bring this one closer again because of the glare. The little girl in the pink dress. Can you see her? Again, old-fashioned clothes like nobody wears anymore. Yeah, when this photo was taken, the only people in the entire room were our guy Jessica. Like, this is the top of her head up here. This is her lap down here. Yeah, she's all on the side. Yeah, this was the only people in the entire room were our guide Jessica and 4 adult guests. There were no kids around. It was about 10:30 at night. Definitely no kids dressed like this. Now, we were so excited about this photo because it is really detailed that we sent it on to the Reed House. Some of them were so excited about it, they actually show it to their own guests sometimes. To be quite honest with you, we did not know when this photo came in who this little girl was. But, as it turns out, some of the folks over at the Reed House knew exactly who this ghost was because she has shown up different places around the hotel. Some of my guides went over and talked to them. They gave them some of the details. So if you're lucky, you may get to hear a little bit about her tonight. And then the last thing I'll show you, and then I'm going to turn you guys over to Jason and get you guys checked in. Those of you who watch Ghost Adventures, have you seen what I consider to be the coolest piece of equipment they have? It's called the SLS or the X-Cam. It's one where you can actually see the ghost on screen. They look like moving stick figures. Until September 2014, Ghost Adventures were the only people in the world with that piece of equipment. September 2014, the manufacturer, Digital Dowsing, started selling some. They first sold a handful to some of their old customers. We got one then. We're the first, and until last year, we were the only ghost tour in the world with that piece of equipment. Now Gettysburg has one as well. Now this is one of my guys, Hope, sitting on the bed here. At the beginning, you're going to hear somebody say, "Can you touch Hope?" And you'll hear it say touch, and you'll see it reach out and touch her, which she does say that she felt it. But the important thing to remember is these are 2 separate pieces of equipment. SLS is doing the video part, but it's Obelisk doing the talking. So when they do the same thing at the same time, especially when it is directly in response to what we just asked it to do, that's way beyond coincidence. But the other thing at the end, you're going to hear Hope say, "Walter, can you show back up?" And you'll hear it say, "Okay." And you'll see it show right over here. So check it out. You touched Hope. It reached out to you. Walter. Walter, my camera was on. Walter, can you show back up? So that just gives you an example of a piece that we use on our ultimate hunt. Walter, by the way, doesn't usually hang out at the Reed House. He usually hangs out at Underground Chattanooga, but he really likes that guide and he follows her around. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys over to Jason. Jason, like I said, is my best guy. You guys are going to have a blast with him tonight. If you have a great time, tipping is allowed. Feel free to let him know. He is set up to be able to do touch-free tipping. Also, if you have a great time. Still trying to get the word out we're here. Let your friends know. Let TripAdvisor, Google, or Yelp know. If you have such a good time, you want to hear more. I do have a few books out. Haunted Chattanooga talks about ghosts all over the city. And I did have a children's version come out in 2021. And the Corpsewood Manor Murders in North Georgia, which around here used to be called the Devil Worshipper Murders, is the most bizarre true crime you will ever hear, bar none. So with no further ado, Jason, I'm going to turn it over to you. Y'all have a great time. Thank you so much for coming out with us. And if you guys want to come up, I'll go ahead and get you checked in so you can jump in.
Thank you so much, Amy. Good evening, folks. If you're here for the 8:30 tour. Just leave me hanging.
Did you not?
Well, then we'll just order. How's everybody doing tonight? Good. Excellent.
Cool.
I'll get out some of the public service announcements out of the way. We will be navigating a lot of city streets. We're adhere to the crosswalk laws as much as possible. It is my preference that none of you become one of the stories. But if you should become one of the stories, please haunt my tour. We'll give me a lot of street cred. Very important in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Young man, what is your name? What is it? Victor. Victor has an EMF meter. Do you know what that means? Exactly, but do you know what it means for the rest of you? You've just been upgraded to an investigation because now we have an investigative tool. You will be our investigator, Victor. Congratulations. Tonight I will point out places where people have gotten photographs. We have gotten a lot on our tour. I recommend you do not use flash. Don't worry about the daylight still out, ghosts and squares. They don't seem to care about any of that stuff. You're also allowed to film. The only thing that we ask is you do not film the stories that I'm sharing. We are an independent tour and we've been ripped off by the national chains. I guess we've arrived. So, with all that said, paddleboard and all those cool outdoor activities. But you may or may not know, back in 1969, Chattanooga. Where?
Sorry.
This is right here, California? California.
Oh, okay. California.
It makes an excellent finish. As this is a walking tour, I do try to find as many improvised seating areas as possible. Plenty of room down by the newly planted shrubs. Kind of weather my mother calls near when it's humid. My name is Jason, and I do love a good ghost story. I love history. You really can't have one without the counted up 15,000 Cherokee who lived here, put them on the barge, and sent them down the river. They were headed west to Oklahoma. Now, the journey that they took today is the Trail of Tears. It originated here. Between 1,000 and 2,000 leave on foot. Between 4,000 and 6,000 Cherokee die in that journey. There's a very prominent Cherokee chief in this region by the name of Dragging Canoe. approximately 36,000. 36,000 soldiers are killed, they are wounded, or they are missing in action. So when we're researching the stories that I'm going to share with you tonight, we're looking for these traumatic events that may leave an impression on it. Before we move on to our next stop, you can't talk about Chattanooga without talking about the river. You can't talk about the Tennessee River and this city without talking about floods. We have had catastrophic floods, particularly in the late 1800s and early 1900s. All right, I'm trying to get that out of the way early. I do appreciate you all playing. Last October, right before Halloween, I had a 60-year-old woman from Atlanta, Georgia. She said, no, more spooky voices. There should be require more spooky voices. Well, you the next rotation light will make our way across Broad Street. And we'll be heading towards the Liberty Tower. Is anybody on the tour staying at the Reed House? We'll be stopping by there tonight. The Reed House is a couple blocks up Broad Street. Now these catastrophic floods, they seem to happen about every 5 to 10 years. 8 years after the 1867 flood, another flood rages through the city, and the folks staying at the Reed House, they look out their second-story window, and they watch a 100-foot warehouse. There's a boat on up front. One riverboat captain, he decides to make some money on it. Don't want to waste a disaster, right? He takes his riverboat up front, picks up the folks at the Reed House, gives them the tour of the city. Arguably the first tourism initiative in the country. Victor, can you do me a favor? Turn off your EMF meter, and then when we go to the spot where we're going, I'm going to tell you to turn it back on. I kind of want you to reboot it, so. Now, Victor, I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. Fire that up. Now what you want to do is you want to keep it away from your body. That way it won't pick up your energy. Do you notice how it's popping up into the red? Yeah. That is an indicator that something curious might be afoot. One thing I can debunk for you, Victor, is you're not standing over power lines. There's nothing there other than concrete and dirt and something called limestone. Is anybody on the tour familiar with the stone tape theory? Anybody?
I heard of it, but I don't remember it.
You know about the stone tape theory? Well, I'll give you a little refresher. The stone tape theory is the idea that certain rocks, because of their geological makeup, they're able to absorb these residual energies that I talked about, these traumatic events, and then replay them over and over again. One of the stones that's popular in this theory is limestone. There's a lot of limestone in Chattanooga. In fact, the city is built on limestone. There's probably some limestone underneath your feet. Look at that wall along 6th Street. Portions of the wall here along Broad Street. That is all the original 1800s limestone. Y'all want to poke around a little bit? Feel free to. What I'd like to do is maybe sort of take a little loop. Is it Melissa? Melissa, you feel so inclined. I'd be interested if you touch some of the limestone to see if any of it feels much cooler than the others. Anybody else that feels brave and wants to do that, feel free to explore around that limestone over there.
When did they cover that up? Because it used to be open.
It's been probably 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. Now,
You know, they covered it up.
why they covered it up? Amy likes to tell people that it was because of the spirits down here, but I think that they just covered it up because people were breaking into it. You might recall there were cages there. People were asking, where did the cage come down? Well, unfortunately, it's not very safe. That's where the city kept it long. So, and then they took that out of there, moved it somewhere else, and then they were just empty. So they decided to block it in. But beyond that wall, it's some tunneling that I'm going to use earlier.
All these feel warm. I don't feel anything.
Now the other thing you may want to consider about this particular site when you're doing your poking around, there was a business down here that might contribute.
Yeah, I don't feel anything. Feel anything? Sam and Cole, you're right. Ghosts really don't want to be caught on camera. Guys, let me know if you see anything on the camera after the stream ends. Like, as soon as I'm done, I'm gonna go review all the footage. But for right now, I'm not. This is where Blue Lady that you just saw earlier is haunting this area. Just let me know. Catch something. Comment down below.
I don't know what that has to do with. Well, I wasn't joking about the St. I got the St. Christopher medal, I got Jasper stuff.
All of them, they're just warm.
Right. So with that corner, now I don't know what this corner has to do, but I will tell you that this particular site.
You're gonna look at the photos after we.
Has been really accurate.
Like I said, guys, let me know if you see anything on the camera. This is the dark area right here. Let me try. Don't feel anything. Sam and Colby were right. Spirits horses.
Call it, doctor. Usually it's associated with positive things. Stuff like turquoise. If you're into indigenous or Native American kind of stuff, amethyst, turquoise, jasper stone. People will tell you about if you want to cleanse your house, you get some. What I was talking about, if you're not familiar with smudgings, is if you buy bundles of dry, particularly white sage, you can get it at. There's a Whole Foods over in North Chattanooga where they sell it. And Palo Santo wood, which is a Brazilian wood, that sort of has the same thing. You light it and then you waffle it through your house, and it wards off evil spirits. It's supposed to promote positivity. Now, if you do this, make sure your windows are open. When I bought some sage from Whole Foods recently, the woman said, make sure your windows are open. Now, I'm Johnny Tour Guide, right? I'm like, of course. She says, if you don't open your windows, the spirits won't be able to leave, and they'll be even more agitated. She followed up by saying, it's a real rookie move. So, a little pro tip for you. Now, I want to share something interesting. We had a little ghost trail magic tonight. Melissa, who said that she is a sensitive and intuitive, that she was coming down the hill, started to feel very sick, like she was going to throw up. And then when she went over to this corner where many, many people who are empaths don't like to go, you said that you found, where's my, there she is. She said that again, she felt something that made her very uncomfortable. When your hair stands up, your body knows. It's your body that knows things that your mind does. These lovely ladies over here were talking about feeling cooler patches where other parts were warm. So these all may be things that have something active. Now, My opinion about ghosts and spirits, to be completely transparent, is I believe them. I would never claim to be a sensitive or a medium. I don't have that gift. And I'm good with that, actually. I'm very happy. My wife and I got a one-eyed tortoiseshell cat. Every time I come home from doing a tour, I check in with that cat. It's cool. See, animals and young children very sensitive to the supernatural, so I use my cat as my spirit barometer. If everybody is ready, we can go. Head back up to Chestnut Street and take a left. Now, Victor, did you get most of your readings over there, or did you get any readings over there? All right, now we'll let you know that there's a power box over there, and I don't know what that admits. So there might be some, we would have to do more investigation, but I know over here where you were getting those big blips, there's nothing going on in Lawrence power-wise. The last medium that I had on the tour refused to go any farther than that yellow line because of what was over there in that corner. And a lot of people took her lead and stayed right there. There were some more brave people that went over there, but. And at any other time tonight, if anybody feels uncomfortable about any sites that we go to and you just sort of want to step away, I will not be offended.
I'm good. I'm absolutely good. Are you? Yeah. Are you?
Now, Victor, I'm going to let you know that we'll be walking along. You don't have to turn your meter off now. Keep it out, but I'll let you know when you're walking over power lines. Most of our walk to our next stop will be over power lines, so you probably will get some jumps on it just to let you know.
That was, yeah, that story, I think I heard that before on a ghost TV show that I watched on Tubi. It's called Kindred Spirits. It's this duo who investigate ghosts and how families get them out of their house. Hot?
Ladies and gentlemen, if the question that keeps you up late at night is, where do they make fire hydrants? Right there is one of the places where they make
It's one of the fire hydrants, guys.
Welcome.
If you don't feel good, you can stay back.
All right, who are my people from Kentucky? What part? My wife is from Paducah. Her mother is visiting right now. I've got some. For my Kentucky folks, first year I was doing the tour, it was a very cold night in February, and you only had 2 guests. It was a Sunday night. It was a married couple from Lexington, Kentucky. And they were running late for the tour. And when they finally arrived to where our shop is, the husband says, "I'm sorry we're late. I got attacked by a fire hydrant on Market Street."
What?
I said, "You got attacked by a fire hydrant on Market Street?" He had tripped over a fire hydrant and busted his knee. And I'm fairly certain he had been doing a different kind of Kentucky spirit. So I said, "I'm terribly sorry. You all right to do our tour? We're going to be doing quite a bit of walking tonight." He says, "I'm fine." Well, we leave the shop, we're walking, and he's making a very big deal out of his knee in a very annoying kind of way. So much so that I say, "Listen, man, around the corner as we were leaving the haunted underground, there's going to be a building that terrifies you. They may have manufactured that fire hydrant. Took a bite out of you." Now, sir, what is your name? Jerry. Jerry's taking a photograph of the Second Presbyterian Church. If there are any buildings that you do see that you're interested in and I don't mention, I do take requests. I might not have a haunted story, but chances are I do have some history. The Second Presbyterian Church is actually the second oldest building in downtown Chattanooga. It was built 1881, I believe, is the date, around that time. Between the Civil War and the floods, we have only one single building in downtown Chattanooga that predates 1870. That building is on the south side. You can visit it. It's a restaurant. It's called Urban Stack. They specialize in burgers, by the way. But that beige sandstone, the Tower Church, it all goes back to the late 1800s. Bagger Church, because it was established by some Union folks who stayed in the city after the Civil War. Incidentally, First Presbyterian Church on McCauley is the oldest church in Chattanooga.
Okay.
Yeah.
That light flickering, that was kind of...
Oh, that was just a light up to know.
Interesting. Very nice.
Straight out here in front of the hotel. Sometimes I'm going to talk about the building across the street.
Bless you.
Bless you. Bless you. Folks, is my volume all right for everybody? Am I too loud, too soft? Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Building across the street is home to the Meeting Place and St. John's Restaurant, two popular eateries moved into this exclusively a men's club up until 1992. A couple years after this clubhouse is constructed, one of the club members decides to bring his girlfriend down to the club. has actually grown up quite a bit in just the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. We've added a lot more shops and restaurants. Hotel Clements is brand new. Back in the day, this would have been a furniture department store called Clements Brothers. 8th Street will take you up to the western where there's some more restaurants. And the lights are up all year round, so it's always the holidays in West Village. We're all ready. We're going to mosey our way up Chestnut.
I'll tell you this club story, but woman killed her husband with a botch cutter in 92 in the park at that club I just showed you. The reason I beat it in because she's been getting negativity from the mountains resurface, so Lieutenant Joe's the story. I'm gonna put you all on mute.
Now, my mother would tell you that is, that's a nice addition somebody put to that. My mother would tell you that's Davy Crockett, and that's exactly how tall he was in the 1800s.
Good old Davy.
I do pause here in case anybody wants to have their picture made beneath Umbrella Alley. There is no historic note, there is no haunted story, just a charming photo op. And I would be more folks. Do you have more than one photo of that?
My phone does.
Just one. That's interesting. Send that to Edie. One of the reasons why I recommend that you take more than one photo is if that there's something weird in one. Like, what is your name, sir? John Blake. John Blake got a very interesting photo, but he only has one photo. If it's in that photo but not in another one, that's another sort of clue that something curious might be afoot. But send that to Edie. Circle it. I don't know if she'll be. You did a good job blowing that photo up and catching that.
They got a Marriott. I said they got a Marriott right there.
Feel free to tuck it into this little pocket here if you'd like. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Reed House.
Oh.
The brick structure is known as the Tower. It opened in 1926. The manor here, it came along in 1959. We're going to get a better view of the hotel after we move on to our next stop. The Reed House is considered to be Chattanooga's most haunted hotel.
Hotel.
It's been the subject of ghost hunters, ghost adventures, those kind of shows. So its haunted fame in the paranormal world is kind of widely known. It's actually the second hotel to sit at this site. The first hotel was built in 1847. It's called the Crutchfield House. During the Civil War, the Crutchfield House is a hospital. First, it is a Confederate hospital. second half of the tour, I will take you to the one site that consistently gives me the EBG. Right? We're gonna head up to Martin Luther King and take a left. We'll be walking in front of the hotel so you get a nice view, be able to peek into the lounge and into the lobby. You will also see some historic photos, including a picture of room 311 and some of the famous celebrities who have stayed here over the years. Famous and infamous.
Right. So, early woman's over in the... I'll just tell you the story later.
What's that? You doing okay? So far, so good. Got one more half to go. Uh-oh.
So, a woman living in Luis,
August 2020. That's fine.
Yo guys, Walt Disney Edwin Booth. Oh. Damn, Walt Disney stayed here. So anyway, the story the guy told you goes that a woman named Annalise smelled in the room and said to haunt this room. In room 311, a burning room. We're staying in that room. Jefferson Duel. This is the room. And there's Al Capone. Birchman. So the room is haunted. Planning on staying. You're in for a long night. Hey guys, watch this video. You might get bait.
Goes in the direction. There's a general laziness with the David buildings. Stop it. Simply on the dome building. The flat iron building is just called the flat iron building. The flat iron building was called the flat iron building.
So you guys are planning on staying in room 311, be warned that it's haunted. And for any guys watching,
Coming across Broad Street, if you look over your shoulder, you get a nice iconic view of the Reed House. We're going to continue our way up Martin Luther King, cross back over Market Street, and then we'll be hitting Georgia Avenue.
that's the Reed House, guys. Largest Georgia. Doing a Walt Disney, stayed at the Reed's Hotel. It's good, yeah. The story's pretty disturbing. I don't want to get bit. Besides, I'm not even an adult. 15.
Make sure you got your meter on. Addison is taking a gander at this building, which is a smart bank building. It was constructed in the late 1800s. This elevator shaft is a little bit more modern, actually. This is one of 3 triangular-shaped buildings that run Georgia Avenue, sometimes referred to as Flatiron buildings. I was talking about Flatiron buildings a moment ago. Of the 3 triangular-shaped buildings that run Georgia Avenue, there's only one officially known as the Flatiron building. We'll see that in a few minutes. Across the street is the Miller and Martin building, also known as the Volunteer State Life building. You may be wondering why there are some V's where typically you'd expect to see U's. Those are Roman letters. However, nobody ever gets that. They just think it's misspelled or we ran out of U's. The Miller and Martin building was constructed in 1916, 1917, and that building has never been a hospital. It has never had a connection to medicine. But for some reason, the city of Chattanooga decided that the basement of that building, actually underneath that deli, would be a great place to put the city morgue. So for a number of years, the morgue was in the basement. Now the morgue's no longer in operation, but here's the thing. Side where the light isn't on. Just put your meter up there to that window and see if anything happens. Yeah, you're doing a great job. Sort of just scanning around. I don't know if it will pick up anything. I do know that people that have meters pick up this, which is, you know, an HVAC system. Oh, that's a little orange. Put it back where you got the first orange mark, like sort of, I think you were further. See if it just stays there for the moment. Okay. You might be getting something. We sometimes get some unusual readings that don't seem to have anything to do with power. Did it pop up into the red?
Yeah, right here.
Ah. Well, I will tell you that's an old 1800s tunnel.
Whoa.
Not red.
Well played, Jerry. Well played. Well played. One final note about that morgue. One of our other guys, she's originally from New Orleans. She always talked about buying the morgue and turning it into a nightclub. It's actually a very pretty morgue. It is Art Deco design. All right, good work. Good.
Saturday night.
Probably asked for one.
Does this take batteries that he has? Or?
Yeah, 9 volt.
Oh gosh, okay. I was gonna say it.
Can't see anything in there.
We might have to get some 9 volts.
It's more like almost like a psych hospital. So the building I showed you was a morgue, and 3 people were hearing whispers in their ears. We might be getting to the end of the tour.
No, that's the other tour. Come on into this. Now, I want to point out something. I'll wait until that's Maria. She's one of my other colleagues. So, what is your name, ma'am? Evie. Evie. So Evie was telling me about a little ghost story of her own about her grandmother. So was this did you say it was an apartment complex or her house? Complex. So the grandmother was staying in an apartment complex, and in the early wee hours of the morning, there would be a swing outside that would swing back and forth when there was no breeze. And grandmother had learned that a little girl had died in the pool. Evie was asking me if that could be a ghost. I think that could definitely be a ghost. We just passed Patton Square. This is a related story. Patton Square used to be known as Patton Parkway. And those buildings go back to the late 1800s and early 1900s. There were a couple little factories there. In fact, the first Coca-Cola bottling plant was in a parking lot along that street back in 1899. There's also a soap factory and a celery water bottling plant. Good evening. So nice to see you. But we do have records of children. These were before the child labor laws, and would work at these factories, and a couple of them had passed away, tied on the job. And there used to be a swing. Like up until about, about 5 years ago. There used to be a swing on that parkway, and that you could walk past it at nighttime. And it'd be hot and stifling like it is now. But that swing, just swing back and forth. It was all by its lonesome. So, thank you for sharing that story with me, Evie. Folks, we're about to go on to Walnut Street for the last couple stops of the tour, but I always like to point out the Dome building. Sometimes folks will ask me if that building is City Hall. Well, that's a great guess. It looks like a City Hall, but it's actually the former headquarters of the Chattanooga Times newspaper. The Dome building was built in 1892. And that happened to be a very low economic period in the city's history. And there's a young man by the name of Adolph Oaks, comes to Chattanooga by way of Knoxville, Tennessee, born in Cincinnati, Ohio. Adolph Oaks is only 19 years old when he comes to the city. He's got $250 in his pocket. And with that money, he can buy a commanding share of the Chattanooga Times newspaper, which is on its last legs. So one of the first things that he does, build a new home, which is this beautiful building called the Dome Building. Really original. That dome up there is gilded copper. It actually is gold. He specifically has that dome put up there to let everybody in Chattanooga know, hey, brighter times are ahead. He's absolutely right, because in the very late 1890s, Chattanooga would enjoy a huge economic boom, partially in part because of the Coca-Cola bottling plant. And it would solidify its new nickname as the Dynamo of Dixie. While still owning the Chattanooga Times newspaper, a couple of years later, Adolph Oaks goes up to New York City and buys another failing newspaper called the New Year's Eve in 1904 with a large fireworks display. And it is because of Adolph Oaks that we have that tradition in the Big Apple on New Year's Eve. It is also because of Adolph Oaks that Chattanooga, Tennessee is in the Eastern Time Zone. Adolph Oaks told the people when they were drawing the line, hey, I got a newspaper in New York City too. I need both of those newspapers on the same time zone. So they drew this little janky line around Chattanooga. That's why when you head west to Nashville, you enter North Georgia for 5 seconds, and then all of a sudden you are back to the future into the Central Time Zone because of that weird line. So you never know when you're going to be on Jeopardy. Right this way, folks. Wow.
Adolph. Yeah.
Some good views of the buildings. I pause here because you got to see Maria go by. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the steepest hill that we go up. We're going to go down some very steep hills that Maria takes her guests up. Just want you to know that I like my guests. Ladies and gentlemen, the official Flatiron Building. Modeled after the New York City one, the famous one. This one came along in 1911. If you're familiar with the famous New York City Flatiron Building, I always like to tell people, this is the tiny house version.
Wow. Check this out, guys.
Well, it's actually not a children's hospital. It's kind of the opposite. It's for older people. Older people that are, you know, they're just older. And but it does. You're on. You're good. I will try to tell you next. Together on this part of here. Right. folks, I want to thank you so much for battling the humid weather. I know that it's a lot. Melissa had asked me about the church steeple across the street. I actually looked above the Flatiron building. You'll see it peeking up there. If you were coming to the hill and you were looking at that tower and that steeple, you may have been looking for the church, the sanctuary. There isn't one, but there was one back in 1885. Now, today that is just referred to as the Old Stone Church Tower. A lot of old Chattanoogans will use that as a geographic reference. They'll say, oh, meet me 2 blocks south of the Old Stone Church Tower. But in 1885 was the first United Methodist Church of Chattanooga, established by a Union chaplain. Another Union guy stayed in the city after the Civil War. But in 1885, First United, they tear the sanctuary down, but they leave the tower and steeple. Because Melissa, it is going to cost $1 million to tear it down. It is going to cost $30,000 to keep it. We're going to go with the $30,000. There's no bell that rings in it. You can't go inside of it. It is actually owned by a parking lot company. But it is a cool, iconic landmark that sits in the middle of the city, and I'm glad it's there. And all that stone leading to that steeple, that's some of that 19th century Chattanooga limestone. All right, folks. Obviously, I like to have a good time with my guests. I hope my guests have a good time with me. I love Chattanooga. I will say that. And this is a very unique way to be able to share the city. And I do appreciate you all being here tonight. As I said earlier, I'm not a medium. I'm not a sensitive. I don't have that. That is, I refer to it, a gift. It really is. But this is the one. This is the one that consistently makes me feel uncomfortable. This is the one that gives me the creeps. And this is the one that people have a lot of visceral reactions to. This is the one that I've had people leave the tour. I've had people walk across the street to the garage. I've gone over there to ask if everything's all right. And they've said yes. We just had to get away from this building because it was making us feel very, very uneasy. So if you feel very, very uneasy, I will not be offended if you want to step away. And I'm also of the opinion that it is not a haunted tour unless you got one of these stories. 1908. There are 2 cousins. Their names are Edward and Dunbar Newell. And they are doctors. The normal sanitarium. It is a medical clinic. It is also a psychiatric hospital. Their original clinic is located where this parking lot is to my right. It was actually a beautiful Victorian structure. And then in the 1950s and the 60s, they start to expand, and eventually the building here is constructed. Now, folks, this is a deceptively large building. This building actually goes 3/4 of the way down 7th Street towards Cherry. To my knowledge, in the last Cherry, they have been documented from one source or another. My mother did not make up any of these stories. When the Newell Sanitarium opens, these are the first days of psychiatric treatment. So there's going to be very little regulation on who is treated here. Adults and children treated at the same time. Very little regulation on how they are treated. These are the first days of lobotomies. The first days of electric downs. There is a tunnel that runs from this building underneath that parking lot into the basement of Kindred. Staff of Kindred don't like to go down into their basement because of that tunnel, and unfortunately their cafeteria is in the basement. They sometimes pack a lunch. That tunnel is sealed up, but it doesn't stop noises. Noises that sometimes sound like children calling for help. Evie Addison. Addison, the parking meter's fine. I just like to set that up. Evie, the parking meter's fine. But a woman is standing at that parking meter out of the corner of her eye. She thinks she sees a man in his window. She pulls out her phone and she takes a photograph. And sure enough, whoa, that sure looks like a man. He's even wearing a lab coat, but no head. The second week I'm doing the tour, I have a family of 5 and they have brought their pit bull. The dog's name is Zorro. Lovely dog, very friendly, great at every sight, except this one. The dog was sitting where you're standing. As I'm sharing the story, the dog stands up, starts to growl at this window. Then it starts to violently bark at the window. The owner pulls Zorro off the curb into the middle of the street, and this dog starts to shake and whimper. Does this muffled yelp bark thing that dogs sometimes do. It's very buckled up. Around the same time that Zorro was on the tour, I had a guest take a photograph of the front of this building. I'm going to start down here at this line. I'll bring my phone around so you can see it up close. I'll end with my UTC friend over there. What you're looking at is a zoomed in angle of this left door. And if you need assistance at what people interpret, well, I can tell you what people interpret. You want to see the street code?
Okay.
Awesome. Are you with them? Oh, I'll show it to their older brother.
Target 112. I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
No, I'm gonna give this to him.
That's what a lot of people
Get a little cleaned out. Which?
And as I said, if you need any assistance with people interpret it. There is a twofer. You're thinking like, did you see 2 things? Yeah. The woman the other night said, you got a twofer. This left door here in this foyer.
Like violet things.
So a lot of people see something hanging there. Oliver's not the first person to see some kind of hat on this person. Yeah, and there's a face.
Oh no.
Yep. Yep. You're looking at your eyes aren't playing tricks on you.
Which door?
This left one over my shoulder.
It looks like he's wearing a construction hat.
That's exactly. What is your name?
Weston.
Weston?
Yeah.
Weston, Oliver, you got another construction hat over here.
That is face.
There is a face, Victor. Very good eyes.
Yeah, I see the lab coat right there.
Yeah. So this is actually to give you just some perspective. A lot of people see that it's suspended. So a lot of people interpret that as something hanging.
Hanging.
I thought it looks like a knife.
Now, Victor, you're doing. This place is interesting. Sometimes it will be off the charts, and sometimes it will be very quiet, at least in terms of its what it reads off.
You did it.
I want to do it.
This is the third person photograph that we showed you.
All right, you got the magic touch. You do it.
Now, the reason why I show this particular photograph, that photograph was taken August 20th at that garage. It just so happened that this block, that block, and those 2 street lights along 7th Street were out. 1, super spooky down here. 2, there was no light to cast those images on that door. As I mentioned earlier, Amy Batula is very good at analyzing photos, which means she's very good at debunking them. She could not debunk this photo. When she can't debunk a photo, she sends it to some other people she consults with. They could not debunk it. Also, one thing I'd like to point out too is this photograph was showed to me just a minute or two after it was taken. We were walking to the next stop. And so that person didn't have any time to goof with it. I always like to point that out too. It is my understanding that a company in Texas owns it. They have owned it for many years because of its size and the asbestos inside. It is too expensive for them to tear down. Hence why this sat here all these years. City of Chattanooga, Hamilton County have made a couple attempts to buy it, but this company will not sell. It gives a lot. I give it a solid 9.5 on the creep meter. And Melissa, this is the site that I've had, over the years I've had about 8 professional mediums on the tour. And at that time, it's like 4 of them were working, but the others weren't. They were just checking it out. All of them have said the same thing when they rolled up on this building, and I haven't even told a story yet. What they sense, and some of them get very, very emotional. I've had to help them sit down on curbs. It's wild. What they sense is not something evil, but what they do sense is an overwhelming amount of sadness emanating from the building. When everybody's ready, I always like to go across the street and give folks a landscape view of this charming. You also, if you look to your left, get a nice view of the Dome building. Now, where Oliver and his crew are sitting, a couple years ago, if I sense that the crowd is very rambunctious, I tell them not to go into the parking lot or down into that stairwell. The security from Kindred will come out and they will yell at me. But a couple ladies snuck away from the tour and they went down into that stairwell. And the rest of us hear screams come from that stairwell. It sounds like bloody murder. Well, there is a drain in that stairwell. Hundreds and hundreds of cockroaches came out of that drain. Women with open-toed sandals. Told them that we throw those in for free. Needless to say, the security from Kindred came out to find out what the ruckus was taken to the principal's office after. Might have been working. When everybody's ready to move on, we're going to head to our final stop. I am going to stand in the middle of 7th Street because sometimes people look around this corner very quickly. But as you are crossing 7th, be sure to look to your left and down the hill. You will get a sense of how large this building is.
Whoa. Big building.
Now, if you don't play your cards right, the sprinkler system here might come on.
Right.
If you want to get wet from the sprinkler, this is the best kept lawn in Chattanooga. We got a sprinkler system come on at some point. Sit in the first set of steps of our approach, you might get wet. Turn it into water raft.
You're at Jet. We're about to get sprayed.
Want to get wet, so the first set Are my folks from Alabama still on the tour?
Yeah.
What part of Alabama? Muscle Shoals. Out that way. My father works in Montgomery. We love having Alabama on the tour, actually. Alabama always sort of raises the bar a little bit. I'd only been doing the tour I also love having Alabama on the tour because I get to tell this story. I'd only been doing the tour for about 3 weeks, and I had 4 guests from Birmingham on the tour. And the tour started, and the introductions been made. And Dwayne of Birmingham walks up to me and he says, "Now listen, Jason, we're already kicked out of one walking tour today." And trying to be enthusiastic, I said, "Well, okay, Dwayne, where'd you get kicked out of?" They said, "We got kicked out of Ruby Falls." If you've not been to Ruby Falls, it's hard to get kicked out of. Because you take an elevator 800 feet into the belly of Lookout Mountain with a cab. Now I'm intrigued, and I have to ask, how did you get kicked out of Ruby Falls? He says, "Well, apparently, Jason, you're not allowed to bring adult beverages into Ruby Falls. And you cannot break away from your group and find your own cave and have a party. It'll kick you out of Ruby Falls." I said, "Well, Dwayne, I don't have anywhere to kick you out of, so let's have a good time." And we did. We had a blast. Some of the nicest people I've ever had with. Nowhere as nice as you all. Very nice. Still in touch. Everything's going swimmingly, and then we get to the asylum. And Dwayne, bless his heart, decides that he's going to break into that asylum. So he goes up to the doors and he grabs a hold of the doors and shaking those doors, backs away from the building. He's looking at it. Oh, he sees a rock on the ground. Picks up that rock, he cocks his arm. I said, "Dwayne, whoa, whoa, whoa." Dwayne, there's only 5 minutes left in the tour. You want to go back to the sanitarium and break into it? Be my guest.
I'm good.
But Dwayne, I tried to look after my group. I tried to protect them. Treat them like friends, like family. You don't want to break into that sanitarium because across the street from our final stop is the Hamilton County Jail and Justice Center. Dwayne walks up to me, he grabs a hold of my shoulder and he says, "Jason, I am so sorry." It's one of the nicest, most sincere apologies I've ever received. What I should point out about Dwayne and his friends is they were not in their 20s. They were in their late 60s. Now, if Dwayne was on the tour tonight, I could not use that building as a deterrent. Going on 4 years, that's an abandoned correctional facility. Stay tuned, I'm working on some stories about it. But our final tale of the evening concerns the Hamilton County Courthouse. The original courthouse inside here was built in 1879. It was a brick structure. Had a clock tower at the top. If you're familiar with the movie Back to the Future, then you will know where this story is headed. It is 1910, and a storm is rolling through town, and just like in the film Back to the Future, lightning strikes that clock tower, sets it ablaze, and the entire courthouse burns to the ground. This courthouse, constructed in 1912, and I am told that it is fireproof. I'm also told that it is haunted by a very specific ghost, so specific that some of the other guys, Maria and Jessica, bless you, they've been doing it a lot longer than I have, and they've given it a nickname, and they simply refer to it as the Shadow Man. And the reason being, there is a very tall, shadowy, spectral figure that wanders the hallways of the 3rd floor. The shadow figure has been seen on a couple of occasions. These 2 windows on the right. And about a month ago, on my tour, the shadow figure made an appearance in this window here. Over the years, night guards that we've interviewed, they've talked about how these sliding doors will open, then there'll be nobody there. They'll close, and what they see is a tall, shadowy figure walking down the hallway. Sometimes the elevator goes from the 1st, 3rd floor to the 3rd floor with nobody aboard it, nobody called for it. We believe that the Shadow Man may be connected to a murder that took place in 1900. Effie's parents live. So they drop her off with her parents for a bit so they can try to figure out what's going on over here. Word gets down to the newspaper. Sure enough, this reporter scurries over to Payne Street, and when he gets there, finds Effie Call sitting on the front porch of her parents' house in a rocking chair, reading a book like nothing had happened. He starts talking to her. For whatever reason, Effie is more than happy to talk to the reporter. In the course of the conversation, she says to him very calmly, "Oh yeah, I'll kill you. Bad seed. Jim, I don't care, and I'm satisfied with what I've done. I spoke to God. God told me. Only way I'm gonna be able to save his soul." Well, she tell that same story to a judge on the third floor of the old courthouse. In addition, she tells that judge that she'd also killed Clifford's 2 younger sisters and his infant brother. Then she was gonna kill herself, but she quote unquote lost the nerve. Judge looks at Effie Cobb and says, well, we don't have to have a trial. Because you're insane.
Guilty of insanity.
She is committed to an asylum up in Knoxville, Tennessee, called Lion's View. Though she does eventually take her own life in 1904. Now, Effie and her son Clifford are buried across town over at St. Elmo in a cemetery called Forest Hill, across the street from where the incline is. Some believe the ghost that haunts this building is Effie Call. But others maintain no, it's Clifford, searching for justice. It's very violent, very tragic death. Effie would also tell that judge, this is also a direct quote, that she had killed Clifford with a heart full of motherly love. Young ones out there, it is very important that we are good to our mothers. No matter what stories they might tell us. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have been listen, absolutely fantastic group. I've had a great time hanging out with you. I mean that sincerely. I appreciate you very much. I hope you all enjoyed yourself as well. Again, my name is Jason. I do humbly accept tips, cash, Venmo, Cash App, all that kind of stuff. My wife is very proud of me that I know how to use my telephone. If you really enjoyed yourself tonight, please share some kind words about us on TripAdvisor, Google reviews, any of those avenues. We are local, we are independent, as I mentioned earlier. Big way that we get the word out about the tour. But most importantly, take those photographs. I know we got some interesting ones and we got some questions about. Send them away. Chattanooga Ghost Tours at yahoo.com. Or you can upload them to our Facebook page. Enjoy your time here in Chattanooga. Please come back and see me again. And thank you all so much. Hey, I got some more good news for you. This is not a New Orleans tour. I won't leave you stranded. We're all headed back to where we started, 5th and Market Street. It'd be my pleasure to escort you there. Should anybody be going in a different direction, just give me a heads up. But we're all headed back to the Nickel on the Market. I'll take you there. We're only a block and a half away. And it's all downhill. How you doing, Melissa? Oh, before we go anywhere else, I want to do this for Melissa and for everybody. Cross your arms. This is a cleansing I learned from a storyteller in Savannah, so it comes from the real deal. You cross your arms, and this will make sure that all the ghosts and spirits and stuff out there stays where it is. You cross your arms and you say aloud 3 times. And do this. You are not permitted to come home with me. You are not permitted to come home with me. You are not permitted to come home with me. 3 times.
Not permitted to come home with me.
Excellent. We should all be cleansed.
Okay. Yep. That was crazy. Maybe we can check out those photos when we get back to the hotel. Reviewed the footage at that other place. You know, see if I saw the man and that construction worker hat. Nah, I didn't see anything.
Good to have you on the tour. You got some really great reading. So, has it been something that you've always had, or something that's my wife was in the room.
Yeah. Subscribe. Peace out.